toon shaders. Mm. And then uh eh?
There's supposed to be a video
Yeah.
on that slide. Yeah. Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah. Then this is our blocking animations.
Huh?
Yeah, so that's the blocking animation for our slide.
That was peak.
I like the sound effects.
Wait, that was pretty
That
funny.
was that was great.
Yeah, that would be all from us.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna for those in advance, I'm gonna make a breakout room for you guys right now. So it should send you there. I think everyone else should stay here though.
For this specific scene, the last scene, I would suggest extending the walk a bit more so that you have proper time to animate the legs and the jumping. Or are they going for more like a dash?
Oh, okay, yeah. We're thinking of a slow walk into the distance, so yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
I see, I see.
Does anyone have any critiques, comments, things they liked, things they thought could be improved on? Please send them in the chat.
Joel or any facilitators, do you guys have any critiques or comments? Huh?
I think can you like go back to the beginning? I think this is pretty good as an establisher. Can you pause right there in that previous scene? Um, Here, let me, annotations, perfect. Oh, how do I erase? Oh,
Control Z.
um, uh, uh, wait, I switched the eraser, but now I don't know this. Oh, mouse. Oh, draw. Okay. I think this is good, except I think the framing is a bit weird because this tree is like kind of small in comparison to this cat. Like this cat is like massive. Um, so you might want to like just frame this tree up a bit bigger. And then like sort of like tilt the camera back a bit more. Um, to be able to like see the shot a bit better. Because right now this like front head-on shot is a bit like confusing to be able to like see things.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think I forgot to scale the cat when I was doing the vlog. But but yeah, we get the idea. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Can you keep going?
Yep. Huh?
So if you like, okay, pause and go back. So like from the previous scene, like it's really difficult to be able to know what's happening because previously the cat was over here and they were facing this way, and then the camera was here and we were looking this way. And then right here in this next scene, you are basically changing the entire direction of both where the cat is facing, and also where the camera is facing, which is now like in this direction. So there's a bit of like a continuity error because the cat is now facing a different direction. And also, this is the first time I'm introduced to this like giant puddle that I have not seen before. So it's a bit confusing. It's like, okay, where did this puddle come from? Does this sit in relation to the rest of the scene? Like I don't know the geography of the scene much because in your establishing shot, it was you didn't really like show me like the lay of the land, like what things are. Um, I'm assuming this is like a river, right? On the side. It might have been good to frame it the other way where in the previous scenes I was able to see this river in the background. Just so the camera isn't as jarring to like switch over. Like, do you remember the 180 rule? Um yeah, like that. And also like right here, it creates a really strong barrier between the camera and the cats because this tree right here is in the foreground and it's kind of like obstructing the view because the camera is behind this tree. So it kind of looks like we have to look over this tree, like we have to look over it in order to see the cats. Which is good if you want it to be sort of like a hidden, like secretive scene. But since you're sort of like introducing a new character here, it might not be good by creating this like giant barrier, this mental barrier for the audience to have to go over. Um, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we will take note of that. Thank
Okay.
you.
Can you continue? Um, wait, so like why does the cat shrink there?
Oh, yeah, like the cat. Oh, like this. Oh, actually, the scene before was the water cat putting out the fire on that tree. That's why the tree was there. So this is like after it put out the fire, it kind of shrinks. Yeah.
Okay, so the tree is on fire and the water cat puts out the fire with their body made of water, right?
Yes.
Do you have a scene for that, or is this that scene?
That was the previous scene actually, like the part where the cat jumps out of the river and like lands before the tree. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Wait, so if you go back to the previous scene then, right here, I guess like this is supposed to be them like I guess like putting out this fire that's
Oh yes,
like
yes,
that,
yes.
right? Um, it's I mean okay, I see where you're going for, but definitely especially the issue of like this is in the foreground because if you imagine when you add the fire is going to be like this, right?
Oh.
Which means you can't see anything because the fire is literally blocking your view. Um, so you should definitely like put this off maybe to the side and then you can see the water cat like come in that way from the left. Instead of having it like this really strange camera angle because once you add this fire, you're not going to be able to see the water cat and it's going to be really confusing.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
All right,
Uh,
thank you.
yeah. And also this thing with camera angles, like there's a lot of parts in the scene where you just kind of like the 180 rule where you just like the camera just jumps all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
And it gets kind of confusing as to like what's happening.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Um, what is that flying ball?
Oh, it's supposed to be a butterfly, but we haven't modeled that in time yet. So we're just putting a box as like a placeholder for now.
Oh, okay, okay. I think the camera right now is a bit too zoomed in. Like if you like zoom this out a bit more, just so you can see the shot and the framing a bit more. Because right now this cat taking up such a large part of the screen, it's hard to sort of I don't know what the style that you're trying to go for, but right now it's trying to look really playful. Um, because like, oh, the cat is like playing with the butterfly that's like sort of flying. So you want to be able to give the cat the space to be able to do that. Like you want to be able to see the cat jumping around and have space around the scene to do their playful activities as like the butterfly flies away. Right now, if the camera is too close, you don't have the space on the screen to be able to show that.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Actually, the original idea for this scene was the cat sets the butterfly on fire. That's why we did like a
Oh,
very cinematic
okay.
shot of the hand. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. If the butterfly dies,
Oh,
then
yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. But I still do think you should have an establishing shot since technically this is a new character.
Mm.
Um, you should establish a new character. All right,
Yeah, okay.
that's like all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Uh,
Any more critiques or comments? Alrighty. Thank you, Cat Crew. Now for Bottle Seeks Art. Anybody from Bottle Seeks Art wants to briefly summarize their slides?
I guess I'll do it. Yeah, so this is our slides, and these are our rendered scenes and assets. This is the first scene. The first scene was outside the museum, got like two trees, and then that painting is supposed to be a Van Gogh Starry Night. Next slide, please. This is gonna be the bottles factory, and got like a truck there. I know, right? Van Gogh's never looked better. It's so good. And then we got bottles inside the bottle factory, just like a giant pile of bottles. There's gonna be more bottles in the rendered in like the play blast. All right, next slide, please. This is the playground. We got some playground stuff going on, some street lights on the playground apparently, and like some trash can. Uh, looking good. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is the art studio, and looks awesome. And we got some windows, some wonderful lighting. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And so you might notice that the stylistic choice is like slightly different. That's like an artistic choice. We want it to be kind of like a collage of different styles. That's kind of like the aesthetic that we're aiming at. And yeah, so next slide, please. These are different assets. We got like Apple Core, eggshells, the trash collecting truck, the all like all these kind of things. Like all our team members put a lot of work into these, and really happy about how they're all supposed to look. Yeah, as Ali said in the chat, they're like supposed to mimic how like the artwork is put together using different pieces of trash. So then like this video is supposed to be like composed of different styles of like aesthetics. That's kind of like the parallel. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, more assets in the scene. I think yeah, they look really good. I think like Ali designed like a lot of these. And also I see some like things designed by Ryan too. So just shouting them out. All right, next slide. Shaded characters. Next slide. There's the bottle that's uncrunched bottle. There's also like okay. I don't think you guys will be seeing the new revised crunched bottle, but. That will be in the final version. All right, next slide. Oh yeah, and also the hand. Hand was designed by Jackson. Oh, all right, sorry. All right, next. Um, rigged characters. The rigging was a nightmare. Yeah, that's the rigging. The one you see on the left is the old rigging. Right now is the new and improved rigging, which is the one on the right. And it was a nightmare to design, but it was done and it works awesomely. So I'm really proud of that. Next slide. And here's the rigging for the hand. Also great work. All of these joints and stuff. Again, rigged by Jackson. Next slide. And Play Blast. All right.
Nice choice of music. Specifically for where's it at? This scene right here. Um, so I'm assuming these are like what's it called? Grasses and trees, right?
That's correct. They're grass. They're called
Grasses
grasses
and
and trees. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Uh, no, no worries. Uh, for this, did you manually place it or did you use mash?
I manually placed them.
Manually placed it.
Yeah.
I recommend using mash. There is a
How do you say, how do you spell that?
MASH all capital.
Okay.
Um, there is a advanced lecture on the UC Bug YouTube channel for mash, and
Okay.
I would recommend checking in on that so you can automatically place the grass instead of having to manually copy and paste it or duplicate it.
All right.
Uh,
And
good.
also, like for one of the scenes, I just dragged like some of the vertices of the grass to make it look like wind was blowing. Does Mash also have a way of like creating wind animation with the grass, or is it like do you have to do some other like additional functions for that to happen?
Uh, there should be. Han, do you have any insight on that?
There's ways to approximate it. And there's different methods on how you can do it depending on how complicated you want it to be. Um,
All
but it
right.
depends. It only like it depends like because right now you have like this grass here. Like if you want like a field of grass across like the entire area,
Mm-hmm.
then Mash is good for that. If you just have like a couple like tall grass while like everything else is like just kind of really low down,
Okay.
then maybe it's fine to just create them manually. But
Yeah.
like we can talk about it afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good.
Does anyone have any critiques? Type up in chat if you anything you liked, anything you thought could be improved on. But I guess okay, one thing I was a bit confused about is like what happened to the like how did the bottle get crushed?
Yeah. So the bottle is supposed to be always be crushed. The bottle's
Oh,
always
so
supposed to
so
be crushed.
what's
So
the
like the
beginning
first
scene
scene,
then?
yeah, just imagine the bottle to be like crushed. So like we
Oh,
might have
okay.
like forgotten to crush the bottles for some parts of it, but it's all supposed to be crushed until the end.
Okay. Can you go to the first scene? Um, I think this is pretty good. I think it's a bit strange. I mean, it's fine, but I mean, do you plan to add like a background to this? Like add stuff in the
That's
back?
supposed to be outside of the museum. So if you look at the like the backdrop, like to the first slide, that's supposed to be like black because the museum's like
Mm-hmm.
black, and then the sidewalk's gray. So that's like
Mm-hmm.
what it's supposed to look like.
Okay. Also, I noticed that your playblast didn't have a consistent resolution. Like this isn't 16 by 9, and also like a lot of your other playblasts don't have the
Yeah,
same resolution.
we all did
So,
like different portions of the the short, and
mhm.
we just like put them together, like Rashab like put them all together at the very end. One
Yeah.
so we didn't really coordinate that,
Yeah,
but
make sure everyone follows the lab in order to make it show the same resolution because I don't want you
okay.
guys to have like really weird like, oh, we animated something here, but then like it doesn't appear in the final shot.
Ah,
Yeah. Wait, can you step forward? Generally, I really like the framing. I think a lot of the framing is good. This shot in particular is very, very scenic, but I think um like this shot, you're supposed to kind of like have this sort of pensive moment where this bottle is kind of looking at this area right here. But the issue with this is that it's frames really small in the center, and it's not really the primary focus because you have like all this empty space on the outside that's kind of like drawing away from your attention. Generally, you want to keep things within the thirds section. So if you have this bottle and make it bigger in the front like this, and then that way it's like a more of a POV shot where you are with the bottle and you are looking towards this whiteboard thing over here. And then these trees in the background can sort of form like a natural vignette and a natural like shape. Does that make sense? So like
yeah,
if
that
you
makes
have,
sense. So the bottle on like the lines of the thirds.
yep, and then you move this over to the left here to give a bit more space for the bottle. And then um like this is the road down here, and then these trees can be really tall and sort of like give this framing, um, that you're able to sort of like draw the attention towards this center the area here.
Cool.
Basically, just move this bottle up so you get a more of a POV shot instead of having everything be really tiny.
Yeah.
Um, and also since right now, this clear all drawings. This right here is really close in like screen space to the bottle. There's not really of a sense of distance. If the bottle feels really close to this, where
Ah.
if you have the bottle off to the side and then this a bit further away in like physical screen space, it gives a sense of more of a distance. Also, because this is a lot more of a perspective shot, so things feel farther away, which
Mm,
could be really emotional.
cool. Yeah,
Continue.
that makes sense.
Yeah, like same with this shot as well. Um, it's also a bit because of the aspect ratio. It's a bit weird, but like, if you want to give this sort of like progression moment, um, making it a lot more cinematic with like the tree in the back and having like a flat shot instead of like looking down at this like at the floor, it might be good to sort of like look flat across of it, and then you have like a bit more of a horizontal direction, to be able to see a lot wider of a space.
I don't get what you're saying.
Okay, so like right now the camera is like you're looking down into the floor, right?
Oh, okay. So you want me
So
to
it's
like be more parallel to like eye line?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, more parallel would be good.
sounds good.
All right, continue. Yeah, like this would be good on the previous scene.
Okay.
Maybe not so flat, but it's pretty good. I think right here, this is good. There's two ways in which you could do this. The aspect ratio is just really weird for this. But assuming they have your aspect ratio correct, you could either have this grass be on the upper third or have the grass be on the lower third, depending on what you want to symbolize. Um, so having it on the upper third gives it a sense of like, there's a lot more pressure and a lot more like stuff like okay, it's a lot darker. While if you had it on the bottom, since you're able to see more of the scene, it's a lot more hopeful because you're sort of
Mhm.
like admiring the background. So it kind of
Okay.
depends on the style that you want to go for, but try to keep
Sounds
it
good.
within the thirds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
This was supposed to be like wind blowing and the bottle falls.
mm.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah, same with this scene as well. It's a bit too like the camera angle is a bit too full, like in the front. Maybe having it a bit off more to the side could be really good. Um, Also, thinking about direction, well, I don't know like specifically what this car is supposed to be, but currently you have the bottle move from right to left. If this is supposed to be an ally of the bottle, then you should also have it move right to left. But if this is sort of like a confrontation that's about to happen, then you should have it left to right, which is good. But
So the truck is like yeah, it's like an enemy of the bottle. Like yeah, that
okay,
it's supposed to be taking the bottle to the dumpster.
okay, yeah. Then I think just rotate this camera a bit more so you can view it from like this side. Because right now it looks like this is about to like crash into the camera, which given like the rest of her scenes, because the rest of her scenes have this sort of like far away look, um, like this is kind of like really, it's a bit out of place compared to the rest of her scenes.
Sounds good.
And I think that's mostly everything. So otherwise, really good. I like it. Very, very good.
With that shot of the bottle like from bird's eye view, that was meant to be like looking into the dumpster truck, right? Or the garbage truck? Or no?
Yeah, I think that's what it's supposed to be. Yeah.
Okay. I
Like
think
Ali, you animated this, right? So, um, do you wanna talk on it, or sorry to put you on the spot, but
We have like different models for like the garbage truck and then like this part itself. So I think I was supposed to put like the truck under this or
so. This container, this is not the truck. This is
it's
like
part of this
I
part of,
modeled
it's in the
this
back of the
container.
truck.
This is yeah, this is meant to be the inside of the truck.
from
Um,
bird's eye view.
yeah, so like
Okay,
looking down, like I guess the shot would be inside of the truck.
interesting.
So we could like bring the camera down a little bit so like you don't see the edges of the container.
Yeah, I guess if you want it to be inside and like
Yeah.
lighted dimly. I get the first thing that stood out to me though that I was gonna point out. I thought maybe it was like open from the top or something, but yeah, say it's like you don't see the edges and you're kind of inside with the bottle. Um, I think the bottle should be a lot smaller because I mean it shouldn't take up like that much of like a giant truck. Do you know what I mean? I don't know,
Yeah.
just for like scale. Yeah, those were
Yeah, it
my.
would also help to make the bottle feel like really small in the world and
yeah,
like
yeah, that would make
overwhelmed.
sense. Yes,
And the banana peel is actually like about the size of the truck. Like at least it looks like it is in the shot.
it's true.
So yeah, maybe shrinking those two things down.
Or maybe it's a banana peel costume.
That's
Just
also
kidding.
possible.
Oh,
Yeah,
because Halloween.
yeah.
Yeah.
That is such a cute shot. Oh my God, I love it. Oh, that was so good. Ah.
Yeah, that the end scene, I think that's supposed to be like the painting. So in the end, he would be part of like a much bigger painting of like Van Gogh, where he's like taking up like a small part of it. The rest of the painting will be like apple peels and oh sorry, banana peels and apple cores and like eggshells. But then it's gonna make like a collage of like a really nice looking painting. But yeah,
This last scene, you should definitely hold out more. It's because it ends too abruptly. And also, it's a bit strange that this like zooming out scene is not zooming out linearly. Like the camera is going this way, instead of just going like straight out of like the the canvas. So I would suggest maybe making the camera like linearly go out like directly, just so you can like see the frame a bit better instead of giving
okay,
this like really dynamic moment, which isn't like it draws attention away from what I'm supposed to be seeing. And also
that
hold it out longer. Like give a like a short like pause at the end for the audience to just take a break and take it all in before ending.
sounds good.
Any more critiques or comments? Alrighty, thank y'all. All right, for raccoon, does anybody want to summarize their slides?
Okay, I can do it. So, um, so can you like scroll down a little bit? Okay, so we have, can you scroll to the very last one? Yeah, we have this is our raccoon and then the the rigging of the raccoon and then the butterfly and then the kitchen set. And then if you go up a little bit, we have other assets like plate, cockroach, and go up a little bit, we have like mountain and windows, yeah, and glass and cups. Yeah, and those are our asset list.
Very,
Alrighty.
very cute. Oh my God, the raccoon is adorable. You just want to hug
And
him.
we are like we haven't it's like we haven't we have this is
This is what we have right now. We animate it, but it's like we don't have the time to put we haven't put them together yet. But yes, if you can start with number one, it's um the
I
very
watched
beginning, like
watched
when
that
he's
movie.
washing it. Oh, I don't know why this is so long, but this is supposed to be shorter, like 1 2 3 second washing. So he's basically just standing there.
That is a lot of plates.
Yeah, no, this is just showing like how many plates the raccoon have to do. And then
Dang. Uh,
and then for this one, he's just like gazing outside the window and a lot of beautiful butterflies is over there. And this is him imagine finding something good in the trash can. And then this is also a part of his imagination. And then the his boss giving him cotton candy. And then he washed the cotton candy. And then this is supposed to be like he's really sad. And then the cockroach rolled down.
I thought he pooped it out.
think-
Chaos in the scene.
Yes. I think that's it.
Alrighty. Does any facilitators or students have any questions, comments, or concerns or critiques?
Damn, all the students be glazing the grass. Really like the framing of the shots. I agree. Well, one of my favorite shots is that shot with the camera zooming out, going past the window was so good. I really like that one.
Yay! Thank you.
I think okay, this dishwashing scene is a bit like I think it's fine, especially because it's supposed to be a lot shorter. But the scene right after this one, where you get the front shot and you're trying to show like the number of plates, is kind of confusing because the camera moves so much. Um, and like you can't actually see the counter in which the raccoon is like washing dishes. You just kind of see the upper half of the raccoon and not like the bottom section. So it's kind of like, wait, what is the raccoon doing? Or like, why am I looking at his face instead of at his like hands doing the action? And generally like, and this applies to like all students as well. Um, the camera should only serve to elevate the shot, which means if the shot does not require the camera to move, the camera shouldn't move because I should be focusing on the like what is being shown instead of the actions of the camera and the movement of the camera. So if the camera doesn't need to move, you shouldn't move the camera. And right now, if you're just trying to showcase like the number of plates that there are, you could just zoom out and then you could just see like the stack of plates on the left hand side, and maybe the raccoon like places another plate on the top, or like they take a plate from the stack and then they continue washing it. Um, and that way you can sort of like get that sense of like, okay, this is a lot of plates and the raccoon is interacting with it without having to move the entire camera over. And especially because it's such like a like a low like a high movement shot where like the entire screen is moving since you're so zoomed up, it's incredibly distracting from like what I'm trying to focus at.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
This is a really nice shot. This is a really, really nice shot. I think like it's a bit strange because there's this giant wall right here. Like there is a giant wall. Like I want to see the raccoon through the window and like see like a beautiful foreground of like the house and everything. But there's just this giant wall that's in the way that's sort of like blocking everything, and I don't get to see like the grass on the bottom or like this framing that's like the small life where it's like, oh, the raccoon is just a normal person living in a normal house doing normal things, and it's like this sort of like serendipity moment or like the serenity moment where it's like the raccoon is really small and framed against like this normal atmosphere, but there's just like there's not enough of the scene for me to be able to see that. So I think if you have it such that the window is really close to the sink, because usually in like households, the sink is right next to the window. Um,
Oh.
at least that's how it is in my house. I don't know because there's a lot of like lighting that goes into the kitchen usually. So if the raccoon was closer to the window, you wouldn't have to zoom out as far in order to get the shot. Like the window is like right behind the sink, and then since the camera doesn't have it to move as far, you're able to get to this final scene a lot quicker, and you're able to show a lot more. Because then the raccoon wouldn't be so small in the frame. Because like just look at how much empty space that there is. That's kind of like not important. And then you have this giant wall here that's kind of like distracting from the main point, which is looking at the raccoon through the window. So you should really, really focus and like rearrange the objects in the scene so that you can see the raccoon through the window, and that is what you're trying to serve. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, Travis said that you think the kitchen set could be more like having the window in front of the sink and counter. Yep, yep, agreed. I assume you're gonna have like a transition scene where like the raccoon is like thinking or like daydreaming, and then it transitions to this shot, um,
Yes.
which is is really cute. I don't know. Or do you plan to have like a background? I guess since it's a dream, like I guess backgrounds like you could be a lot more liberal with the background because it's a daydream. Um, but I think also since it's a daydream, it should be a lot more POV shots, which means you should get a lot more close-ups of the raccoon because it's sort of like you are the raccoon, you are daydreaming with him. Um, and I mean, it's good for establishing shots, but I think being more in tune with the raccoon could be good. I love this scene. This is so good. Like, the grass is so good. I mean, definitely extend the grass out more and have like don't have these gaps. And also your aspect ratio. Um, but I think like how many blades of grass is this? Like 1,000 maybe? Like you could definitely increase the number of grass. Like you add a couple thousand blades more grass. Um, because it's like frolicking in the field. There's too much like empty space here. So you could definitely add, and also like I don't know, maybe some like flowers or something to just like get this really nice scene out. Um, and you could also like I don't know, make the grass like sway and move, which could be good. Um, I assume you use Mash for this. I don't know if you followed the tutorial on the YouTube channel or not. But you can do a fall off object on this. So you see how right now there's some grass that's like clipping through the body, because the grass is spawning where the body is. You can use a fall off object so you can make it so that grass doesn't spawn here. And that way you could get the grass on the outside without getting the grass like clipping through the body. Um,
Okay.
yeah, but I really love this grass scene. I don't have many thoughts after this.
I like the little zoom that he does.
I guess I was wondering what you wanted us to like sort of take away from that last shot. Like I guess why is everything in like panic and in disarray? Yeah. Why is the bear running around in other words?
I'm sorry. Um, oh wait, I can explain.
Yeah.
Wait, so basically the raccoon hates his job of doing dishes in the restaurant, so he sabotages the restaurant and the evil manager by dropping a cockroach into the restaurant, and then it causes disarray
Oh,
in
interesting. Wait,
the
so
in the
the
dining
cockroach
room.
wasn't crawling off of him like so he planted the cockroach essentially.
Yeah, he planted the cockroach.
Interesting, interesting. Okay.
Because yeah, we just need to animate the raccoon like holding it and dropping it to the ground.
Okay, makes sense. Sounds good.
Oh, the raccoon should definitely like smirk.
Yes.
That'd be so funny.
Any other comments or critiques? Alrighty, thank you, Raccoon. Alright, Becoming. Does anybody from Becoming want to summarize their slides?
Yes. So we start out with the character models. This one is of the child bunny, and Mason did these. And they're all. Oh, and Nathan did the character sheet, reference sheet in the back that you can see. And the next slide is the bunny dad that I made. He's fully rendered. I'm not sure if I'm gonna add more color to it, maybe just to differentiate a little bit, but that's what he looks like so far. These are our rigs. They are pretty extensive, but yeah. And then the bottom one is the child rig. And then we have a slide of our bedroom assets next, because there's a scene where he's like going to bed. It's pretty simple. Clarissa modeled the bed and stuff, and I think the mirror like actually works and fully reflects. And then the bed, I think we used end cloth for the blanket. And then the aquarium assets, I modeled the aquarium set. And that shot, the aquarium logo, I used type mesh, so that was what happened. Yeah. Um, and then yeah, there's water in the background that is rendered, but I haven't put it in. And then yeah, that's like the whale. And the tube, is full glass, so there will be water around and the whale will be swimming through. And then the forest, where he's running through the forest. Mila and Nathan worked on this with like the low poly trees and then the grass. I believe that Nathan is looking into mesh as well for that part because it will be very fieldy. But yeah. And these are just some of the shaded assets that we did that are like a little closer up. And yeah, I would like to preface um that I our camera and our transitions aren't the best. So please enjoy.
Alrighty. Does anybody have any critiques or comments?
It, is it still alive?
No, he's dead. I'm sorry.
Oh,
No. I think this
Oh,
scene right here, instead of doing a cut, you should just like pan the camera over. Like this does not need to be like two shots. You could just turn it into one shot and just pan the camera over.
oh, okay, yeah. That makes sense.
Some
Um,
of the models are also
there's
cute.
also
I
a
agree.
scene where his eyes are just like floating. That was my fault. I was figuring out the rig. But yeah. Or like the dad's eyes are just floating in the aquarium somewhere. It's
Oh,
that whale
regarding a
scene.
thing on models, so like on bedrooms, there's usually like can you pause in the previous scene? There's usually like a strip down here. Um, it's
Uh-huh.
like
Like the
if you look at
beveling.
your yeah,
Yeah.
you should add that because it looks really weird without it.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
We can refine the bedroom model a bit. I think we need to refine the light switch as well because I thought it was an Uno card when I looked over it.
Honestly, also this is just like extra like stuff as well, but if you guys have the time, definitely add more stuff to this room.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know, like a countertop, like a nightstand with a lamp, or just to make it feel more lived in.
That
Because
sounds
right now
good.
it is very like empty.
Yeah.
I like this scene. That's good.
His eyes.
I think okay, so the scene like previously that transitions into her, I guess, like leaving. Where does she get this? It just kind of appears.
Oh yeah, I was about to mention that too. I think one we should switch hands because in the establishing shot, it's shown to be sort of like on the left side, like next to the mirror. So
Hmm.
it's like there in the shot. I think maybe we could add like a smoother transition of him like actually grabbing the sewing kit.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. But yeah, this is and have it in his left hand as well.
Also, like a bit of foreshadowing could be good. Where it's like you can maybe see some sewing materials on the outside, as foreshadowing. And also like when the bunny is like kicking their legs,
Mhm.
maybe they're kicking them both at the same time instead of one after another. Just like subtle foreshadowing things for the end.
Yeah. So I think in my animatic, when he's kicking his legs, I agree. I think we should move them both at the same time. And then as for the sewing kit, like I think I wanted to like leave a little bit of mystery because like it kind of looks like
Mm,
a tackle box, kind of. And then you're like, oh, maybe he's
true,
going
true.
fishing. And then he pulls up to the dock and then he's like not fishing and he's actually sewing his legs. So that was like my sort of thought process. But if you think that
No,
like it would be better if there were just it's like more foreshadowing, then
no,
we can.
it's completely up to you. All of the critique given, you can choose to incorporate it or you can choose to not incorporate it. It's all up
Mhm.
to you. I think that's one really important thing about critique is just picking what critique to take and what critique to not take. Also, this is a really good scene. Um, because it also like emulates like I don't is the camera rotated here or is it still flat? Because I do like this because it feels really dynamic and this is like leading up to the really big moment.
Mhm.
So it's a bit of like chaotic in nature, which feels like, oh, something's about to go down.
Yeah.
Um, like it's kind of nice. If you haven't already, I feel like it is because looking at this, but you can rotate the camera and you can tilt the camera, and it's called a Dutch angle. And
Uh-huh.
basically a tilted camera is used really commonly in film to portray like something is wrong or something is like off-putting. Um, it was rotated. Yeah, that's what I noticed. I was like, like it feels like it is rotated. There's like a very subtle Dutch angle. Um, yeah, like this. Like this is a
Yeah.
Dutch angle.
Also, I just
Um,
want to say that
very
when you look
good.
up Dutch angle, it tilts your screen, and I think that's cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I like just looked it up on Google and it like slanted a bit, like the search results. It's
That's
fire.
cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dutch angle, very good job on this. I like it. Also, like, do you plan to keep the aspect ratio vertical like a phone camera? Like, I don't know if
No,
this is
I know. I
intentional or
think we
not.
just didn't end up talking about aspect ratios as much. Yeah. So we will unify everything.
Okay. Yeah, no comments. I think at the end here, this could definitely be shown a bit better. Like the actual sewing part, I think is kind of just like
Yeah.
you can't really see it too well.
Yeah, there's some assets that are like supposed to go into the sewing kit that I think were not referenced. I'm not sure like if we forgot, but they're made. The assets are made, but they just need to be referenced in to show that it's like a sewing kit with like all the sewing stuff. And then I think we just need to figure out like a lot more like oh, we also made or are going to make I made blend shapes for the dad, but Mason will be making blend shapes for the kid. And then we'll have like the whole breathing, deep breathing scene as well. That's not included in this blocking animation.
Cool. No comments.
Does anybody else have any comments or critiques? Alrighty, thank you, Becoming. I'm gonna hand it to Hoel for the animation lecture.
Hello, can you hear me? Can I screen share, Gabe?
Yep.
Sweet. My, my share screen. Okay, for it was too much for my computer. God. Ah, hmm. I'm gonna close some tabs. Oh God. I think Zoom crashed.
All right, Gabe, do you want to take over for now?
I can take over for now, yeah. Give me a second to pull up animation too.
Hi, Francis. Bye, Francis.
Wait, did Hoel die?
Yeah, yeah, no, Hall's Zoom crashed.
Oh,
He tried to show screen and the entire thing just shut down.
should I just kick him out? Like, there's like a
It's
giant gray
fine.
screen.
Let's continue lecture.
I'll stop his screen share.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Can y'all see my screen?
they should be able to. Yeah,
Alrighty. Animation 2. So for just review for bouncing balls, most motions can be boiled down to a bouncing ball. So if we look at Poe on the bottom, where is the ball in the image shown? Can anybody raise a hand? Yep, his stomach and his belly. You can see right here, it just bounces like a bouncing ball. Where else can you see the bouncing ball? Maybe in his cheeks too. You can see right here, there's a little bounce over here on the left side and right side. And yep, all the dumplings too. It's a bit hard to see, but you can see them moving up and down as such. Maybe, yep, the hat also. You can also see it moving up and down like a bouncing ball. Yep, and his forearms too, right over here. You can see it go up and down. All right, walk cycles. So you can see different bounces affect the feel of each walk. So let's say we have a regular walk, right? He just bounces very relaxed, very monotone. Well, if we go to something like a run, you can see it bounces very, very fast, very, how do I say it? Very, very fast, very sudden. If we look at the jump too, the jump is also very fast and very sudden. Uh, breakout rooms? Question mark.
Don't join.
Okay. Most of the weight and appeal of the character comes just from the up and down motion. So if the base, aka the hip, doesn't feel right, the rest of it will inherit it as well. So these are the types of walks. You can see, if we look at the crab, it's more of a scuttling. If we look at the middle right here, middle top, you can see it's more of a waddle. I think these are the what do you call them? The mushrooms from Risk of Rain 2. For Link, you can see it's more of a jog because he's carrying an object that he wants to, get rid of as quick as possible. For the cat, it's more of a skip. You can see it, skips. For the stickman walk animation, you can see it's very monotone, very nothing really moving, just the forearm, just the arms and just the legs, no head movement, barely any body movement. Same thing with the robot, very, of course, robotic. And we look at this cartoon robot over here. It's very lifelike, very exaggerated. Has lots of exaggerated movements, lots of follow throughs. You can even see some bouncing balls and some arcs in the walk cycle. If we look at this walk cycle real quick, that is hello joining. Probably good.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I had to restart my computer there. How far did you get in the lecture?
I just got past types of walks.
Oh, nice. Okay, very cool.
Yes.
Now
You
you
want to
guys
take over
know
from
about
here?
walks. All right, so exaggerations is the second principle of animation of the 12 that we're going to introduce for y'all today.
Wait,
Exaggeration.
hold. Go back and share the video.
Oh,
We
we
didn't
didn't
watch the
watch the
video.
video yet. My bad. All right, here we go. Walk cycles. This is Rango.
Can't hear audio.
Oh no. Let's see. More, sure, computer audio, stereo field. Yeah, so this was just like exemplify, right? Like you can convey a lot about your character through like the weight of their walk cycle. If we go back like a few slides here, you'll notice that this kind of implemented like a bit of a shuffle or like a like a strut kind of bouncing pattern to these characters, like the little heavier, and that communicates like, hey, maybe there's something like wrong with these guys or like jaded about these guys. Um, these are like older, like jaded cowboys and what have you. Yeah, any questions about walk cycles though, based off what Gabe um, talked about before I got back? Check the chat. Sweet. All right. If not, yeah, like I was talking about, exaggeration. Next principle of animation we're going to go over of the 12. So what is exaggeration? It's like this technique we use as animators to really emphasize an action or a reaction of our characters. Like for example here, like Donald Duck is being flung back by the force of some like a set something he was struck by something, right? To kind of give more examples in popular media. Here I mentioned like reactions and as well as actions. So here's SpongeBob like reacting on the left here, Charlie Brown. Obviously like when you are reacting to something, the element of exaggeration here is like your mouth wouldn't actually open up so wide that it's taking up like a majority of your face, right? That's sort of to emphasize, okay, this is like something very startling to SpongeBob. Or okay, and over here for action, we have what's his name? The vampire, like Spider-Man, kind of slamming Miles Morales into the train, and like check out like the dent that he made into the train, right? And like all these colors used to kind of really emphasize the impact of how like hard the blow was against the train. Um, yeah, these are like some of the things. Oh God, sorry. So much lag. Any questions on exaggeration while this kind of buffers? Trying to go to the next slide. Check in the chat. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Sweet, sweet,
Yes.
sweet, sweet.
Yeah, you're still here.
All right. Next slide. Maybe Gabe, could you screen share and I'll talk over your screen share?
Got you.
Sweet. Super laggy.
Can you stop screen sharing?
Yes. Okay, no, I can't. Can host stop me from screen sharing? Is that a thing that you can do? Okay, no,
Yeah. Yeah, you're stopped. You're good.
okay, yeah, next slide. So here's some more examples, again from popular media. First, let's talk about like, so we have the Spider-Verse clip, right? The exaggeration element here isn't so much like, there's no like displacement of like the floor wasn't dented or anything by Miles landing or anything. It was more so like the jump when, when you freak out or like that's like an overreaction to the taxi cab being in his way. But it emphasizes like, or it's communicating to the audience like, whoa, like Miles Morales is just finding out he has superpowers. It's highlighting this like, oh my God, he realized he can jump super high. Like similarly, we have Poe squashing what's his name? Tai Lung. Okay, the tiger. In real life, like if somebody were to be squashed so much that like skull was displaced that much, they'd probably be dead, right? But here's coming like, okay, Poe's a heavy guy. This must have hurt. Um, it's also funny, right? It's like exaggeration can be used toward comedy. Uh, Next, we're gonna watch this clip from Tom and Jerry, and I want you guys to pay close attention and identify elements of exaggeration, and we're gonna shout them out in the chat.
Okay. My bad. Hold up.
All right, so it's up to you guys now. Shout out in the chat or like raise your hand. There we go. Here we got one. So his mouth stretched, became the golf club. Yeah, stretched it out. So it's like, like it was so much force that it stretched his cheek open, jumping out of his fur. Oh yeah, yeah, that happened as well. So like overreaction, something like totally not believable. His head grew to a massive size after eating the bees. Yeah. My personal favorite was like the water kind of jumped out of its um sh like where the water out of like the pond, right? It was like such a loud scream that it lifted up all the water, which is like obviously again not realistic. But it really highlights the emphasize. Yeah, yeah. It highlights and emphasizes like how maybe like painful that was or how loud that was in like the cartoon world. The scream. So we can use emphasis exaggeration for like comedy to make a point. Again, it's just like a tool to highlight um, different actions and reactions. Next slide. Okay. Any questions on exaggeration? Cool, cool, cool. If not, so line of action. This one's kind of cool. This is like a tool, another tool, another principle of animation um, that we use as animators to kind of make sure that when we're animating a scene, we are properly conveying to our audience the sort of transfer of energy or like force um, that like makes sense for like a particular action. So kind of to like ground this a little bit, let's take a look at what a bad line of action looks like. On the left here, you can't see my mouse, but like the top left image, right? We have a cat that's like kind of I mean, we can kind of piece together that he's punching this other cat from like there's like other images here. But say this we were looking at it for the first time in isolation, you'd be kind of pressed to like be able to tell that that's what's happening. And the reason for this is that the cat that's punching is sort of leaning away from this punch, and then moreover, the cat that's receiving the punch is like leaning toward it a little bit, right? Like his chest is coming toward the punch, and it's like if I was taking a punch to the face, I would not be leaning into it. I'd be like whipped back from the force. So this is kind of like it's almost telling us incorrect, like unintentionally, that this cat receiving the punch is like kind of being his face is kind of being like swept across like very lightly or something like this, like like under the chin or something like that. Um, and the reason for this, like that the line of action helps explain, is that our characters are posed in such a way that some of their energy is kind of going this way, and then some of the energy is going this way. So it's not like cohesive. It's sort of conflicting information to your audience. The energy is not being transferred from the punching cat toward the cat receiving the punch. Whereas, like to contrast this, take a look at the image on the right. When the line of action is sort of going straight through the punching cat toward the other cat, it's very clear like where the energy is going, right? Like toward the guy, and then or toward the second cat, and then the second cat receiving the punch. The line of action through that is arched in such a way to tell you like the blow is so hard that momentum like or like part of his body is like failing to catch up almost. Now, one thing I failed to mention is like what is like where is the line of action, right? Like what's like the rule of thumb? You sort of just want to imagine a line drawn through your character, and then think about what shape is that line producing. This is like because this is like a cognitive tool, like imaginary tool for you to use as an artist. It's not something you would actually draw, right? It's just like when you're animating, kind of picture these lines and make sure that the shape this line is taking matches your intent. A rule of thumb is that you generally want to avoid these S shapes in your character's line of actions because it conveys this conflicting like flow of energy. Whereas if you were to use arcs, you should try to use arcs as much as possible. It's very clear like where um, force is flowing to and from. So another good example is down here, like we have the arched Tom about to take a swing versus the unarched Tom. And one is very clear about like, okay, he's winding up to do something, and then like the release. And there was so much force, right, that he even arced the other way. So that's kind of cool. My line of action use there. Any questions on the line of action? All right, if not, next slide. Examples of line of action in like popular media. Hit play.
you dare. This is gonna be fun. Bien. Muy bien. You really gotta stop losing that.
Very cool. Anyone in the chat have any it's kind of hard to time step in like real life, right? But like any thoughts on where one might have been used throughout this short? And it's actually kind of tricky because when used intentionally or like when used really well, a line of action is not something like you can totally like you're totally thinking about, right? It's just something that you use when you're animating um, to make sure like energy is transferred correctly or like the flow of energy is looking as it should. Um, and you don't even really think about it. Like your audience shouldn't really even really be thinking about it. If we go over to the next slide here, like blink and you'll miss it. Um, this is like some of the lines of actions that were used throughout these shots. So like when Poos is running toward death, his body is leaning in the direction he's running, and this is like, telling us that that's where the energy is flowing. Similarly, when Death like throws his weapon up in the air, sort of like going into that pose. Um, the pose is like in such a way that like the energy is going towards where that weapon was thrown. Okay, and then like in contrast, when Poos enters like more of a defensive stand, the line of action is now pointing back in the opposite direction that he was charging, right? And this is telling us like now we're like okay, now the energy is going back toward us. So we were either taking a more defensive stand or like we're receiving a blow ourselves, something like this. So yeah, these are some cool ways that like the line of action can be used for, in particular for like action sequences. All the examples we've seen so far have been like, like sudden transfers of force. Yeah. Any questions on line of action? All right. If not, follow through. This is the third principle of animation that we're going to go over today. What is follow through? It's this tool, another tool, that animators use to sort of ease sudden either starts or ends to motion. And to kind of ground what that means a little bit, at the beginning of Raya the Dragon Slayer, I believe the film is called, or sorry, at the in the pre animation stage of this movie development, there's a lack of of this tool, but then later toward the end, it gets added in, and then we're gonna take a look at what it looks like before and after. So let's watch this clip. Okay, so if I told you there was not meant to be any audio, thank you for the for letting us know. So if I told you that the first blocking animation had zero follow through, and then by the end there was a ton of follow through, do you guys have any idea based off the name as well what raw follows through refers to? Any guesses? Okay, all good. Follow through, as kind of the name suggests, is when like parts of the body follow through on the motion that like uh another part of the body started. So like for example, I think the best example in this clip is the hair. Before it was totally like plastic, right? It was just one to one with the motion of like Raya and Sisu. But after follow through was like properly implemented with like physics or what have you, you have like a greater sense of like inertia, for instance. So maybe Raya stops, like does a sudden turn of her head, and then stops, but her hair keeps going. So it's sort of like it's a sum. You could summarize this principle of animation as like making sure body parts are obeying the laws of physics. Nothing stops suddenly. Yeah, and then it's sort of like that's why it sort of eases stops, abrupt stops, because you still have motion even though your character has stopped moving. So next slide. So blocking animations look stiff, but then when there was no movement to follow through, but then you sort of add follow through, and then now everything looks like more alive. Here's a quote from The Illusion of Life, which is like a really fundamental book on animation that kind of captures what is meant by follow through quite well. So bodies in motion do not move all at once. Therefore, as one part of the body stops, another part might overlap or follow through. I've been talking a lot about follow through. The kind of like sister principle to follow through is overlap. So it's like um, the motion of, so going back to the hair example, the motion of the hair and that of Raya were not one to one. They sort of like one sort of started not quite when the other ended, but like sort of in between. There was like overlap, right? In their starting time and movement time. And then like, yeah, you can sort of imagine it as like overlapping motion. Another example is like the tail of the scroll here, right? So it's like a little bit almost delayed in to that of the scroll's main body. Um, yeah, not much more to say on that. Any questions so far? Follow through. Okay, next slide, we're going to talk about what are some of the like use cases for follow through. So these are also from the Illusion of Life. If your character has any like appendages, so that's like, floppy ears or like even your skin, right? It's like a little bit bouncy. Um, at the beginning of this presentation, we had like Poe and like all his belly fat. These are examples, and like clothing is a very common one. Hair, obviously, we just went over. These are all examples of appendages that move independently of other body parts. Um, yeah, so when you have anything like that, that's a good use of follow through. Uh, Remember, like the point is like the body does not move all at once. Sort of things are compartmentalized, but they're dependent on one another, not fully independent. The way in which action is completed tells us more than the movement itself. Um, yep. So yeah, so it tells us more about the movement itself. So it's basically like you want to end more. Um, basically you want to like end. Yeah, forget it. Anyways, so number four is you can use follow through. So your characters can hold your poses longer. This is what we talked about. Like, so when there's like a sudden stop, it's like less abrupt if some other part of the body is still moving. Um, yeah, we can skip this slide. I'm gonna try to speed through the next couple because we're getting nearly to time. Um, okay, so this is another example of follow through.
Still think I'm not the victim here? Watch. It gets better. Oh, he's doing his own theme music?
So like the standout bit of follow through here was like the bouncing ball, right? Even when Grook like stopped moving, the bag kept bouncing around. And that is like just it breathes more life into the scene because you have like this bag acting independently of Grook, like because they're not just one like static um like character. They're two independent things and they should be moving somewhat independently. That's follow through for you guys. Let's go to the next slide. Here's some like examples of follow through in popular media. We talked about like hair is a common one, dresses, so clothing, toilet paper. This is a cool Spider-Man clip. Yeah, we can go to the next slide. Okay. Um, so now it's your guys' turn. PS4 cameo. Can you guys in the chat identify elements of follow through present in these two scenes? Waterfall, waterfall. Yes, Shifu's whiskers. Look at that. The belly jiggle, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Some other good ones are like, the fur here is moving independently. Shifu's sleeves, yeah, clothing, right? That's a big one. It helps sell the impact of like say the landing or sort of like a Master Shifu's like kind of abrupt stop, like what the, you know what I'm saying? Next slide. So the analogy sort of with follow through is like a pendulum. So like these components are moving independently of one another, but there's like a relationship there. It's like that overlap we talked about. And to get a feel for this, you guys are going to be animating a pendulum in your like next homework. And then it's like an analogy that you can transfer over to when you're working with your actual character animations. Next slide. Okay, this is the last principle of animation we're gonna cover today. It's called appeal, and it's like the most, I think, not difficult to understand, but it's the most abstract. So just like bear with me for a moment. Here's a quote from The Illusion of Life as well. So to us, and this is like from industry animators, right? To us, it meant anything that a person likes to see, a quality of charm, pleasing design, simplicity, communication, magnetism. Your eye is drawn to the figure that has appeal, and once there, it is held while you appreciate what you are seeing. Next slide. Paper Mario might go. Before we talk about like more concretely what like that means, let's take a look at the scene from Coco. We'll talk about it after.
What color is the sky? Ay, mi amor, ay, mi amor. You tell me that it's red. Ay, mi amor, ay, mi amor. Where should I put my shoes? Ay, mi amor, ay, mi amor. You say, put them on your head. Ay, mi amor, ay, mi amor. You make me un poco loco, un poquitito loco. The way you keep me guessing, I'm nodding and I'm guessing. Now count it as a blessing that I'm only un poco loco. Not bad for a dead guy.
Not so bad yourself, gordito. Eso!
He's close. Find him.
It's just un poco crazy. The sense that you're not making.
The liberties you're taking leaves my guts shaking. You are just un poco loco.
We're looking for a living kid. About 12?
Have you seen a living boy?
Supposed to auto stop like with the first page. Yeah, so appeal, right? To kind of highlight what appeal is, it helps to like think about what appeal is not. So like when the animators were animating the scene, they kind of had a choice to make. When you're singing, the only thing that you strictly need to do is like open your mouth, right? And like that's what you need for words to come out. But what the animators instead did was have Miguel like kind of lean into every word, right? Like his face like jiggle physics was acting up, right? He was kind of like leaning into every word. Um, then he like kind of busted out into like into a performance. He was doing a little bit of a dance, and it became a full-fledged thing. So basically, it's like when you're animating, you want to think about your animation as a performance. You always want to like exaggerate everything. One thing that I think might be useful is like maybe if you're to record like reference videos of the thing you want to animate, sort of act out in real life, record yourself performing the action you want to do, and be like super melodramatic, um, because it's kind of helps breathe some life into your scene, and then you can sort of think about. I mean, like when you record something, like when we do film, we can get away with like more mundane actions, but in animation, it can come. It's really easy for mundane actions to just be like really robotic-y or like boring. So we want to always like exaggerate, be as if you're like a theater kid, right? Like your animated character should be like theater kids. Yeah, that's what I have to say about appeal. Next slide. I guess like we talked about what appeal is not. Here's more examples. Like this is like the deadpan face I was talking about. Miguel could have looked like this, but they animators elected like for that not to be the case. Contrastly, characters can look off-putting as well if they're uh, sort of unnatural. So like this smile here is a little bit like off-putting. It's like a little creepy. It's not something like a character or like a real person would like do. Unless like maybe that's your goal, like your character's supposed to like look awkward or something, right? Um, yeah, so these are just some examples. I think we can skip the next slide. Yeah, we can skip that. All right, so yeah, just to summarize, we introduced four new principles of animations on top of the few that we learned last week. That was follow through or like and overlapping action. Those were kind of like one concept there. We had arcs or lines of action. We had exaggeration at the beginning, and then finally appeal just now. Yeah, Gabe had a little bit of a camera demo. Hand it back over to you for a bit.
We do not have time for the camera demo, so we're just gonna skip it.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so like a few announcements. I guess like we sort of talked about animation here as in UC Bug, we talk about animation as sort of like a one piece of this larger pipeline, but to a lot of people in the industry, animation is their entire world, and it's a world in and of itself. So if you're more interested in like delving into this part of the industry in greater detail, there are resources dedicated to just animation. We have here like we're gonna announce a few here. So like the Animation School and Animation Mentor programs. These are like classes taught 6 to 10 people, and I should mention um, most of the following resources cost money. But yeah, this just so you guys know, this is like a 6 to 10 person class taught by like industry folks in industry taught in Maya, so you guys already like have some experience with it. The classes are online, so it's kind of convenient, and it's similar to like the 4 unit workload. Next slide. The Animation Collaborative. This is another class. This one is more kind of local. It's taught here in Emeryville, but it's also online. In the past, UC Bug students have had a 15% discount. I don't know if that's still true, but
I believe it is still true. I
it is
believe we
still
still do
true.
have 50%
Look at
discount.
that. Yeah. And yeah, other things it's taught in Maya as well, taught by Pixar animators, so really cool resource. Next slide. And then finally we have like the books that we've been referencing in this slide deck. The really fundamental ones in animation. So The Illusion of Life, by Disney, and then we have The Animator Survival Toolkit by Richard Williams. Great resources. Next slide. Okay, yeah, and then if like some final reminders, your homework for this week, I mentioned what the animation assignment is going to look like, the Pendulum Lab. Um, you're gonna yeah, animate some of that. The deadlines are the same as usual, your respective days, November 10th and November 12th. Feel free to like reach out with any questions on this on the Discord. And your group assignments are going to be to like number one, provide feedback for other groups. So that you're gonna in the Discord channel like provide written feedback to two other groups, and then you're gonna implement the feedback that you guys have received both like live here and then from other groups for like basically you're gonna implement the feedback and we're gonna like redo the process all over again next week, right? So it's like an iterative process from here on out sort of thing. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, exactly. This is a key word for attendance today. All right, I think that's everything. I'll give you guys a minute for to write that into your grades code.